What's going on, folks? Painless. Let me start off with saying Happy New Year's to you all. And yeah, here we go. We're going to get straight into this video. As you can see, the title. I did a video maybe, it's been years ago. And I talked about submission to men, how men should be not somewhat submissive. And what I meant by submissive is being able to rationalize, because the nature of man, the nature of men, most men don't want smoke. Most men don't want problems. Men are, the way that we're wired, we try to we're problem solvers. And getting to a situation where it's physical violence, usually when men get to that point, it's a point of it's the crossing of the Rubicon. Once you cross that line with a man, you can't go back, i.e., calling a man a liar. There was a time I could speak on my grandfather. He shared he shared a lot of stories with me growing up in 1920s, 1930s West Baltimore, in where if you called a man a liar, that was grounds for possibly getting killed. A man's word and his reputation is what he stood and lived by. And I can remember my grandfather telling me that, when he was 8 years old, so this had to be 1926, West Baltimore. And if you all from Baltimore, they, that horse thing, what happened, let me just say this. What happened was he saw a man get his head split in half over 3 peanuts because there was an altercation, about the transaction about a bag of peanuts. And I guess someone thought they were shorted, and a man put an axe straight down the middle of his head over 3 peanuts. Now, I remember my grandfather telling me this story, and I remember it. I remember him telling me this story back in the early 90s when I was a teenager, going into, into the teenage years. So now we we move forward and we fast forward to 2021, 2020, and which you have a couple brothers, and Corey Holcomb and Zoe Williams, and I listened to a good 20 minutes of their debacle. And then afterwards, I just kind of just let it play in the background while I was doing other things. I think I was meal prepping or whatever. But, and I have no problems, me as a man, saying that I wronged someone. But then again, it's very rare that I get into situations in which an altercation can arise for me to wrong someone. No one can put dirt on my name. If I owe you money, which I don't ask for money from people, but if I owe you money, and I'm going to just share this. I was at the barber shop the other day, and what happened was my barber was away in Nigeria for the holidays, and he let that be known to me. So I needed a cut, and I went to a barber, and the brother hooked me up, And what happens now is a lot of barbers, they use alternative means of transaction in terms of monies and things like that. So he asked me, did I have a particular app to, make this transaction after he whipped me up? And I said no. So I went to the nearest ATM and I went and got that man his money for the services he gave me. And I paid him. And I tipped him because he did a very good job on my head. And I bring all that up to say, folks, that, if you put yourself in the right at all times, the stuff that I saw with Corey Holcomb and Zoe, first off, let me say about that situation, I don't like how Zoe Williams portrayed himself. I don't. It reminded me of, and some of y'all don't know what the hell I'm talking about, and I may put the link in the description box, but it just goes hand in hand of a video, and I kind of got off on it. Hand in hand with a video I talked about being submissive to men. Not sexually or nothing, no craziness like that. Damn, Painless, where you going? I'm saying when you're wrong, you're wrong. Own up to your deed. Stand on your word. And if a brother, and I mean a human being, has an issue with you, let them get that off their chest. Let them get it off their chest. Say how you feel. Don't let no stuff be lingering around, especially as men. And this video is more pointed towards men because we have a lot of bitch assness in men. And I've said this before. I said the reason why you have a lot of unnecessary foolishness and homicides in the so-called black community is because you have a lot of these guys out here with access to weapons, and you compound that with the clout-chasing society and culture that we live in America, globally, but I'm speaking about here in this hemisphere. A lot of these guys have been raised by women. And women are very emotional. Women are very shoot first, ask questions later. And that's what that's what all this violence stems from. All these FBG Ducks and King Vons and Mo 3s, if you look at their stories, they've all been raised by women. They've grew up in a house full of women, and this in turn demonstrates, in what, to no fault of their own, they've grown up and shown this is how they deal with life situations like a female. Now you put all these groups of men in a certain neighborhood who have been raised by nothing but women, and you have the cackle. You have just, disorder. So you look at Zoe Williams, and his energy was very feminine to me, as opposed to Corey Holcomb. Now I occasionally will watch the 5150 show for shits and giggles, but I began as I got on YouTube, I began to see too many. The way YouTube, when you search something, and I don't need to tell you this, but I'm going to tell you this. When you search for certain videos, something of a commonality. Since you watch this, this will show up. So that's how I got wind of this Zoe Williams and Corey Holcomb situation. But it appeared to me that Zoe Williams just wouldn't let it go to me. It was really bitch assness to me as opposed to Corey Holcomb. First off, two men, these brothers are well into their probably late 40s. They're older than me, and I'm 42. And I've talked about in the past how I'm very selective about the black men that I deal with. Because I know that 9 times out of 10, these brothers have been, they can't take constructive criticism. They can't take, hey, bro, why don't you do blase, blase? Oh, who you think you is? Or you hating? Whereas I've given certain advice to a Hispanic or a Caucasian, and it's no big deal. But you try to drop game or knowledge to another black man, you being the black man, it's and it's not all. And that's why I say you have to be careful. Because I can't now there's brothers that have done that and they be like, oh, okay, yeah, all right, Painless. All right, I see where you're coming from. All right, thank you, appreciate it. But you have to be I'm selective because of the shit that I just saw with Corey Holcomb and Zoe Williams. That's exactly why I'm selective about the brothers that I deal with. Because you hear all this shit that's lingering and when ordinarily men should sit down and talk about things if there's a potential issue. It doesn't make you a coward. It doesn't make you weak or soft. It's because it prevents things from going the way, it prevents things from going left. That's what it does. Like you saw on that show. I listened to Zoe Williams, and, I was on my phone, and like I said, I listened to the first 20 minutes pretty intently. And after that, I kind of just, I was on my phone. Like I said, I was meal prepping. And then after I meal prepped, I came back, got on my couch, and I was on my phone, just kicking back, listening to this, to this jive. Two old ass dudes, trying to give each other smoke. And there was something that I didn't like about Zoe Williams because he was really trying to dig deep. You know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of G Money and Nino Brown. It reminded me, that scene. Let me see if I can paint this scene. Remember G Money? When he got caught, like he was smoking dope. He wasn't committed to the organization. He wasn't committed to the family of CMB, Cash Money Brothers. He wasn't totally committed. So he does what feminine F-boys do. He went and found an easy way out in terms of getting on dope. Millions of dollars. But he in turn blamed his faults on Nino Brown. In fact, what Zoe Williams did, he went into the female aspect of it. Well, when this woman, you got women, bringing a woman. And I've said this before, there's plenty of men in the ground. There's tons. And let me just say this, because I have a wide variety of ethnicities that listen to my content, and I'm appreciative of you. But I'm kind of talking to black men and black women right now. There are tons. Like my apartment is pretty big. I'd probably need, like, put it this way, I don't have enough space right now to fill up the bodies of brothers that are in the grave over mischievous women. Okay? So what G Money did, he grabbed the low-hanging fruit. You did this, and you had that chick, and what about me? That's the same shit Zoe Williams was doing. He pulled a G Money move on Corey Holcomb. A very feminine move. And then, as time went on, and after I picked up on that stuff, him beating on the desk. There are indicators when you're dealing with people. And I've been in situations with this. Like I said, I'm not extra. And maybe that's just me. Well, I've always been like that. All that huffing and puffing and chest thumping. Look, what you want to do? How you want to do this? That's me. How you want to do this? Because all the extras and all that, and black folks, we're very extra. A lot of black folks don't want smoke, but we when it happens, yeah, we gonna react. But most of us don't want smoke. We don't want smoke. And then the situation with Errol Spears and Zoe Williams. And Corey Holcomb was right. He like, man, you had to get liquored up. You was liquored up when you done that. And I had to salvage that situation because you were so liquored up, you couldn't control your emotions. You went up somebody's head because you couldn't control you. That was your home. You was in control of that. And I understand what Corey Holcomb said. Look, this is our platform. And you get out of, okay, yeah, he's out of character. And if it's a problem, if it was such a problem, let him go on and we're going to finish our episode or our show. We just won't bring his ass back on no more. No, you want to go upside his head because you was liquored up. You can't control your liquor, which I have a problem with brothers that can't do that. Anybody that can't do that. If you can't control your liquor with me, especially when you, put it this way, if you over 30 and you out here drinking, nothing wrong with that. But if somebody bump into you and you on some 1993 shit, like nigga stepped on my Soldier Reeds, I'm about to kill him. I'm not dealing with you. I don't want to deal with you. You're a liability and you will be ostracized from Painless. You're not allowed to come to Painless's home. You're not allowed to come to Painless's functions, etc. Because you're a liability. And so with Zoe Williams, he strikes me as a type of cat that he need a gang of people to get up off on somebody. You know what I'm saying? He needs a crowd to get off. And those are the dangerous types of dudes. Those are clout chasing's always been around, but the difference is we got cameras now. We got video and all this. So Corey told him right. Holcomb, Corey, he told him right. He's like, man, I didn't bring it up, but I had to cover now for you, for your bullshit that you did by you couldn't control yourself and you took off on this dude. And like I said, some of y'all don't know what the hell I'm talking about, but it just shows what it is. It illustrates how I'm selective with brothers I deal with. First off, me, I'm almost in my mid-40s. And back in the day, I wanted you, like I had a cousin. I got a cousin, he's still alive. Let me tell you about my cousin. My cousin, he was the type of guy, like say me, parents, I bring, we shoot ball. And this was him. We shoot ball, I bring dude, we shooting ball, and my cousin, he's my age, and what he would do is, he would G-check people, these dudes. And when I mean G-check, he would say like little slick shit. And then it get to the point where like when we shooting ball, and he don't know this dude from Adam, or we shooting ball, he foul him hard. This is check his nuts. And he would just do that, and some dudes, a lot of dudes folded. Like he would foul, I'd be like, damn, he would foul the hell out of him. And you could tell it was intentional. But what he told me while he was doing that, he said, you know what, Painless? You know why I did that NIGGA like that? You know why? Because first off, I don't know him. That's your homeboy. Secondly, if he gonna come around here, I need to know that he, you speak good of him. That's all right, Painless. But I need to know that if some stuff jump off, he gonna be cool. See, and this was like we were 16, 15 years old, and he was wise. He is wise. He didn't make the best decisions, but he was wise. Like he's not he ain't been in out of jail. He just was that type of guy that like, look, nigga, I don't know you. Yeah, you were my cousin Payless. That's my cousin. That's my blood. I'm riding for him. But you come over here, and he just didn't like weak people around him. That's what it was. He didn't like weak, so he would trip off, say little slick stuff, And then some dudes danced, a lot of dudes folded. They're like, man, your cousin be tripping, man. But that's just how he was. Some people are like that. Some people, they'll do stuff. It's just like, how else can I explain it? It's just like when you meet a loved one and you haven't seen them in a long time, and then they know you about to leave. Some people, and as immature as this is, as immature as my cousin was with that, as a 42-year-old man to do that, some people will start shit with you because they don't know how to say goodbye on a good note. So they'll start shit with you so when y'all, and then when y'all beef and y'all leave, it's like, oh, I'm good. They can't leave on a good note. So they'll start, that's their mechanism. Oh, well, shit, they came back at me. Oh, well, shit, I ain't saying. They can't just be hug and say, you know what? I'll see you again. I'll see you again. No, they got to start shit to make themselves feel good. And that's a weak move. And Zoe Williams has those type of tendencies to me. Like I said, the beating on the podium or the desk when they were talking, and not letting things go. It was very feminine to me, and it just shows me. I know I've dealt with tons of brothers like that in life, to where men should be able to talk. All that rah-rah. It was just, it was a sight to see with that. I know this video is long concerning these two brothers, but I was inspired to do this video about that. Because stuff like that goes on every day in the so-called black community. Where people ask for an ass whooping. People ask for death. I saw plenty of times where Zoe Williams could have just been like, all right. Because Corey, he gave him plenty. And I see video, and let me just say this. I'm not pro Corey Holcomb. I think he's funny. I think he just reminds me of a dude from brother I grew up with. But that was some bitch assness by Zoe Williams to me. I do not like feminine behavior from men. I don't like men that why didn't you talk about this shit before the camera? Why are you gonna get in the high side and flodge while we on camera? You could have pulled me to a side, but you're doing the G Money move. And you're in your feelings right now. Instead of coming to me, if you had all this static and all this smoke, why didn't you just come to me? But see, a lot of dudes are F-boys now. A lot of men now are F-boys. A lot of guys are F-boys. A lot of guys are scared of confrontation. And confrontation does not mean we about to shoot the joints. It doesn't mean we about to squab. It just means that we about to have a conversation. Face to face, no texting, no over the phone. If it's that big a deal. Pinning shit up is a female trait. No disrespect to my females, but y'all know what's up. Y'all know that's how y'all do. Men shouldn't operate like that. Now, when you do that and you come at somebody, you come correct. You don't come with all that calling me out my name and mother effer this and no, we don't do that. But since a lot of these men, especially in the so-called black community, have been raised by women that practice this type of approach, this is what you have. You have your Zoe Williams. In their feelings. Feels before reals. Pent up emotion. Passive aggressive bullshit. I hate passive aggressive. I expect that from women. And Painless had to learn this, that this is how women are. Not all women, some women are aware of it, but the nature of a woman, don't be surprised if a woman throws that passive-aggressive tactic at you. You just take it with a grain of salt. Don't give up on the game, learn how to play the game. But passive-aggressive behavior from a guy I can't stand. It makes me want to puke. I don't deal with brothers like that. And when you do, you need to be careful if you're dealing with If you keep that type of guy in your circle that you know is practices that bullshit, keep an eye on him. But you know what? I'm about to enjoy my wings tonight. I'm going to watch the last couple episodes of Vikings on Netflix. And I'm about to chill, give me some good night's sleep, hit that gym in the morning like it ain't nobody's business. Painless out.